Hi guys, welcome back. EryxUK here with, I've got to remember now, my gaming update blog thingy number 15. Sorry for the delay on bringing one of these back. Things have been a bit busy lately. So let's just jump straight into it. Where has my gaming taken me this month? With the Warhammer Club, things have been a bit up and down on that. We've had really high attendance. We've had really shit attendance. It's all a bit weird. I also get the impression it's going to probably come to a crashing end fairly soon. The league, not the club, because we've got one player who is one of the two who is pretty much slotted to win the game. I think the league, and he has basically just breezed through all his games. The player in question is emigrating end of the year, and so I think he's just trying to get all his games out of the way so we can focus on that and setting everything up. But the problem is that he hasn't lost a single game yet. So at this point, there are a lot of people who've only played 2 or 3 games, and he's only got about 4 opponents left. So he's kind of really breezed through it, and I've got this horrible feeling we're going to have what we used to have, which is where people turn around and go, well, I've lost 2 or 3 games, I can't ever catch up, I'm just going to drop out because I can't win. Which means it will all just come crashing down, and it'll just end up being a game between the top 2 mods in the end, which is going to be a little bit disappointing. We had this problem before, and we ended up having to basically say, or as I set the league up, who was playing on what weeks. And the problem with that is it's great on paper, but it doesn't allow real world issues to get in the way. But it may be the only way we're going to be able to do it in the future. But there you go. There's no thoughts on the Warhammer Fantasy at the end of the year yet, but we have about a half dozen guys who have started playing the filthy, dirty War Machine / Hordes. Mainly because of the recent price increases and silliness that Games Workshop have been doing, now moving on to another game, which I can understand, but when you've invested as much as some of these guys have in the game, I think it's a bit kind of silly to do that. Just save your pennies for longer and buy what you want. At the end of the day, Games Workshop put out a fantastic product, even when they're being a bunch of numpties. But you never know. Maybe we'll see about after this doing a small War Machine league and see what happens with that. What else has gone on? Filthy Deadly Magic has been exceedingly popular yet again because of the release of the latest set, the Dragon's Maze, which is the 3rd one of the Return to Ravnica block. Even I have broken my rule yet again and bought quite a bit of this and traded for stuff. I was thinking of giving a load of the cards away, or giving most of my collection away, just focusing on a few areas. And I went through my stuff and I found I've got about a dozen decks. And it's like, well, how the hell did I manage to get a dozen decks when I basically sold everything I had just a few months ago? So it's ridiculous. But the problem is the next block, it looks like it's going to be of a plane which is a Greco-Roman feel, which is one of my sort of favourite fantasy genre sort of things. And if that is the case, then I can certainly see myself buying into that. But we'll see. Which brings us back to the roleplay side of things. The Call of Cthulhu game has gone in the leaps and bounds, I think. Since I have kind of we just started the Master of Nyarlathotep campaign a few weeks back, and since I've separated the characters from their silly twinky firearms and stuff because I've had to fly over to the United Kingdom with its gun laws and what have you, even from back then, and no sticks of dynamite, the game has actually got better, I think. It's just one player who's a bit like that, and I think even he's enjoyed not having that. He's had to think and what have you. So the game has got a lot better. Sorry for repeating myself there. And we had a fantastic session just over a week ago. Characters finished the whole of the London / UK section and are flying off to Cairo, and I've got this book called Fearful Passages, which is a series of scenarios designed to fill in gaps. So when they're travelling somewhere, you can have something happen. And one of them is a really cool scenario where you have a lengthy plane trip and somebody on board the plane isn't quite what he appears. And that was really, really awesome. Once this sort of like started coming to light on board the plane at 3,000 feet, everything went tits up, to put it mildly. We ended up one character being mesmerised to put on a parachute and throw himself out of the plane, and just managed to snap out of it as he was doing so, and managed to catch the wings, the strut of the wings on the plane. Another character tying rope to himself to a chair or something, and a wing walking out to rescue him, and another one getting up onto the roof of the plane to try and stop this thing, whatever it was, from sort of like tearing apart the engines and everything. And absolutely fantastic scenario. Really enjoyed it, and that kind of re-engaged my love of that particular campaign, which is cool. Rise of the Rune Lord campaign I'm playing in. If you remember from the last one, we had this absolutely awful, almost total party kill. It wasn't entirely because one of the players wasn't there, due to a family event. The rest of us all died fighting the big bad at the end of the particular chapter, and we all basically came away grumbling and, well, almost all of us, swearing about it. And my nephew quit the game in protest because he just didn't like how the GM was handling it, which I can understand. And I was really upset because that was my catfolk paladin who I'd invested a lot of time and effort in, and I had really got myself attached to the character. It's a shame because I haven't got attached to a character like that in a long, long time. But we've made new characters and we've come back in with that missing player. We've got 2 new players, so we're one up for what we had before. And we walloped the big bad. I think probably because we now knew what to expect, and you have a certain amount of metagaming seep through, whether you realise it or not. My new character is a paladin gunslinger, and I wanted to try the gunslinger out because I had preconceived notions from reading the Ultimate Combat book. I'd got ideas from the forums, what have you, and I'm glad because I was justified in my thoughts. Firearms are far too powerful; they're far too broken. They don't exist in my games anyway, so it's a moot point because the most advanced sort of thing they have in my worlds is cannons, and that's normally fitted to ships. And I'm not particularly liking the character, so if he gets bumped off, I won't object on this one. Otherwise, our Sunday night game, the game we had been doing, where I was a player, has kind of dropped to the wayside, and that particular GM has started to run the Legacy of Fire game campaign, or adventure path, because we wanted a bit more stability, and because of players not being there and being there, this was the easiest way to do it. And in that one, I've got a elf ranger, 2 weapons, war dancer style, so lots of acrobatics to leap over enemies and get to flanking positions, all this sort of stuff. And I'm really enjoying that campaign at the moment, really good. My particular game, well, I've kind of been in a bit of a funk with Pathfinder the last couple of years, because not because of the game itself, and not really because of the players, but I've not been finding it as enjoyable. Mainly, I think, because the guys are beginning to develop the optimization aspect that we never had before. 2 of the guys have really gone heavy on this. One is a massive power gamer optimizer anyway, and even though he's toned himself down a little bit, it's beginning to infiltrate into everybody else, and these 2 go and play Pathfinder Society, and they're picking up random stuff off that, and I've begun to find that it's spoiling my enjoyment of running the game, because I'm not clever enough to do all this sort of stuff. I like a certain flat sort of game, and I can't in my head compensate for all this different stuff. But also because I don't particularly enjoy that sort of game. I don't like it as a player, and I certainly don't like it as a GM. But we had a session a fortnight ago where the characters are now off hunting for their villains and the artifact they're after, and I ended up basically they had to travel either over some mountains or there was a possibility of a route through the mountains, kind of a Mines of Moria sort of thing. and I basically took a dungeon from another module and rewrote it, kept the layout sort of thing, but put what I wanted in the rooms and the traps and so forth. And I don't know what happened with this particular session, but it fell into place perfectly, and really sort of like, again, like with the Cthulhu game, has motivated me a bit more. And our next session of that is on a couple of days' time now, and I'm really hoping that we can keep that momentum going and keep the game just as fun. But there you go. That's what's happened in the last month for me. So it's a little bit of ups and downs all over the place, and I'm hoping that now that the rule law game has settled down again, we've got these new players, and we can get on without having lost characters. That's going to pick up again, and I'm hoping that my game will pick up again. And really hoping that we don't have any problems come the Warhammer Club either. So, anyway, that's what I've been up to. Thanks for watching. Any comments, thoughts, just stick them below. It'll be good to see what people think. Anyway, take care. Until next time, good gaming.